Oh, now it's a working. I ain't foraging at the moment. Um, basically, all my all my audio devices decided they wasn't having um, none of my bullshit tonight. So all the batteries um, are deceased. So nobody could hear me no more. Um, Cameras were still fine. Those don't run on batteries. I have power packs for those. Um, the fuck. This is what the hell is this? Oh, that is not the thing I wanted. That's what that is. So this is me running my mouth about getting down in the fighting stance, y'all. Sometimes you got to get in your fighting stance. So, um, well, it was like a brief discussion at the end of that stream um, about a few things. So I thought I would just jump in here um, and kind of talk about some of that stuff more in depth. In depth. Can you refill these? Can you refill these? I don't think you can. Bart, yeah, Bart Dellinger had told me he had some coal. He got me a bag of coal, which is really awesome. But then later he said, "Oh yeah, it's anthracite," and I was like, "Wait, what?" It didn't. That did not really register right out of the gate. It was kind of funny. I was like, "Wait, anthracite? Ah, damn, did I piss him off?" Um, Anthracite's not fun to forage with if you don't have an electric blower. If you've got to use a hand crank blower with anthracite, man, ugh, you're going to be busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. Um, but you can do it. Um, but anthracite damn sure gets hot. That there is no doubt. Um, sorry, I'm looking for my. Oh, there it is, my cigar lighter. Uno momento. As I go get my cigar lighter. Yes, and it lit. Sometimes this lighter gives me fits, but I love this thing because I love the flame of this particular lighter, which you probably can't see, but I love this flame on this lighter. But like a Bunsen burner type of thing. It's a really gentle flame. I mean, at this time at night, I don't expect anybody to be actually watching this. Um, I'm talking shit on that coal over at Kurt's, man. That's brutal. That stuff was so bad. So, I, I, I wanted to review my own stream. Mostly, I wanted to. Yeah, so right now, the audio on that is not terrible. Yeah. So, let's see. I call that Blade Maker hot. Apologies for drinking in the mic, but I'm thirsty, so deal. So on where we're at in this video, let's see. We foraging it all in here? So here we go. Boom. The view view is not terrible. Um, so I made a mistake with this leaf that I didn't really think about. I did want a short taper, but where I screwed up on this leaf though is when I go when I went to set this shoulder, I really didn't present enough material over the edge to make a big enough leaf that I wanted. So this is kind of where I screwed up on that. Um, the rest is fine, right? But I like the overall picture that we're getting here. I like the picture, so this is stuff that I wanna keep working on, and really and hone in on getting the best view of the material as it's being worked as I can. Um, so that's something really I really want to hone in on more. Um, uh, I'm talking a lot of shit. I do that, um, but I try to back it up at least. But I definitely talk a lot of shit. That's just how I roll. My friends know. My friends know. I give them shit all the time. I expect it back. Um, you know, if you can't take it, then you shouldn't be dishing it out. Um, so there's a at some point in here. Let me see if I back out to show how I like to watch this for myself to see myself forging because I will see myself making mistakes and I use that as an opportunity to correct things. Um, just in form, correcting your form, right? Like dancers would dance in front of mirrors. Why? So they can see themselves, so they can correct their form. It's the same principle here. Um, so um, I don't know what I'm talking about there. So let me move this forward a little bit. Um, I mean, considering that the microphones were limping along on shit batteries, the audio is really not that bad. It could definitely be better, but I'm gonna equate some of that to just weak batteries. What am I up to here? So the big thing is I want to pull back. I want to see a. Oh, so I'm on that wrought iron piece now. Um, so Troy is bringing up the fact that he's hoping he's going to be here on the Friday before my hammering, which is on the 17th, which that'll be very cool. So let's see. You don't want no part of that. Let's see. Is there any wide angle forging shots so you can actually see the hammer throw? Um, so here's a little bit maybe, right? Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit. So we'll see. Boom, right? See the thing? I'm getting my hammer up to my head, bringing it up. I'm not answering that phone, man, and throwing that phone down. So you know, it's does the lower Derek the low okay. So Brian was talking to one of the viewers. His name was he's got a channel called Derek's Stuff. So if you're into like I think he does like a lot of wood splitting and stuff like that. So if that's your thing, man, you definitely check him out. I mean I haven't gone through all of his stuff, but I mean what little bit I saw it looked pretty cool. So Derek's Stuff. Derek is an engaging viewer, so that's always fun. He always asks questions. Um, He's going to become my first Patreon member one day, and then I will be able to afford SDI Black Magic Design cameras that I can control and zoom in and zoom out and all that fun stuff. But one day, well, we can hope, right? Um, but everything he's asked for or talked about, those are all things I would definitely like to be able to do at some point. I'm just not there yet. Baby steps, right? I feel I don't watch everybody's content, and I don't. Okay, keep in mind, I don't have a cameraman. I don't have an operator working with me. It's just me. Um, so for that being what it is right now, I feel like um, I don't know of any other streaming blacksmith streaming where you're gonna get the 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 view and the clarity that I'm presenting, and I hope that it will only get better. But I think still to date nobody is doing this in this format. Bar Run Forge does a pretty good job, but he's got some things that I don't have, like an Eli. So if Eli wants to come over here and be the man behind the desk, that'd be cool. I'm down with that. Um, one day, I'll have that Patreon um, um, uh, flow rolling in, and then I can pay folks to do these things. uh, so it currently is not an option for me. So it is what it is. So I wanna kind of go back. Where's the chat in here? How do I? Is there a way I can comments? I wanna keep this going. Um, so I was going to address some of the comments. I know how to get to them. I pipe um, all of the chat to my Discord channel, to the Discord server, the Forge Chat Discord under Sharp Bend Forge. All of the chat gets piped into that. So for cases like this, right? So I can kind of go back and read through some things. Um, so it's not always there, though, I have noticed. Like if I go back to the chat, March 12th, no, February, it was the last time I've seen it. That's interesting. So it might show up in the restream chat here. It shows there's one person watching. I think that might be me watching. Um, but I can't see the old chat, which is really weird. I wonder, is there somewhere else I can see it in YouTube? No, it's not in comments. Um, how do I? Newest first. Top comments? No. Um, Derek's stuff had asked a couple of questions about. I'm sure I'm going to butcher all of this. So he had asked a couple of questions regarding anvil height, right? And at some point, Derek had mentioned that aren't you supposed to do blah 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 for anvil height? And I believe it's with your fist and your arm in a resting position, in your fist, your knuckles come up to the anvil thing or whatever it is. And I don't mean to be rude about that, but I kind of stopped him. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So anytime I hear somebody say that you're supposed to do something, um, I immediately put my skeptic hat on. I'm not a big believer in things that you're supposed to do, especially in the blacksmithing world. I believe in things that you do because they work for you. That's why you do those things. Those things work for you. So the setting your anvil height to your knuckles with your arm at a rested position or whatever it may be is a guideline. It is a decent guideline. It's a good place to start. Another good place to start is your inseam measurement. So like if you wear, a 30 or a 32 inseam, that's approximately a good height to set your anvil to. However, if you are somebody that works alone, and you will often find yourself holding material between your legs, resting upon the anvil, you will find that some of those other heights are not um, ideal because it will have you standing on your tippy toes while you've got that material between your legs. You don't want that's not ideal, at least not for me. Excuse me, tired. That's not ideal for me. I don't want to forge like that. Um, but if you do, that's on you, man. I'm not gonna say that it's not right. I'm just gonna say it's not right for me. What is that? My lighter. This damn thing just worked. I'm a little annoyed that the stream chat did not stream to the Discord server like it's supposed to. I may have inadvertently turned that off. So I'm scrolling through here to see if maybe I'm just missing it, but I don't see it. But when it comes to anvil height, again, I think your inseam size, that is a good starting point for your anvil height. But you should play with that, right? You should definitely find what works for you. I'm 6'3", so um, that I don't want an anvil really high, but I don't want it super low either. Mine sits right around 30 inches, 31 inches, 30 inches, and a lot of other things in my shop at that height too. And the reason being, I can place items on my forge table that's at 30 inches. So I can put something on my forge table and rest it on my anvil, and they're at the same height for the most part. I have a vise where it's the jaws sit right at 30 inches for the same reason. Other things in my shop work that way, so I can kind of use them for support, which is why I do that. Um, Let me go back to this chat thing here. I don't know. It's showing one person is watching on Twitch. I feel like it's the uh, uh, my bot thingy. I don't know. Stream Elements, I think maybe. I find it hard to believe that anybody on Twitch is watching me watch myself my own stream. It's kind of weird, but like I said, I had audio issues towards the end of my stream tonight, so I thought I would just take this time. I was hoping I could see the chat messages, which I could, you know what? I might be able to pull them up. Hang on, let me check this. Here we go. Yeah. So I can pull them up this way. I'm connecting to the streaming computer remotely right now. So let's go scroll back up towards the beginning. So Derek's stuff at one point asked if I am a teacher. I am not a teacher by trade. I have taught some forging. What little I know, I don't claim to know enough to be a quote unquote teacher at blacksmithing. We've done hammer classes. I've helped a lot of people forge hammers and teach them how to forge a hammer and tools to make tools. I've done some other things like that. Derek made a funny joke. I'll have to remember this for the next time we go to the state fair. He said, what insect does a blacksmith make or manufacture? He makes the firefly. Haha. So the kids would like that, I'm sure. Anyways, so he had asked if I can do certain things with my cameras using my cell phone. That's a possibility that I need to look into to see if I can. I don't think I can, but I will definitely look into it. And I'm also going to look and see if those particular cameras have remotes available for them, so that I can use a remote to do things like that. So you got to keep one thing. One thing you do have to keep in mind: the reason you get such a sharp picture and such a high def sharp picture is because it's set in manual mode, so it's not typically auto zoom. Those are not zoom lenses. Also, that's the other thing. They're quote unquote prime lenses. Um, so they have some zoom capability, but not a lot. They're not telephoto lenses. I have another camera that can do it as a quote unquote camcorder that I use for the wide angles and things like that. But it's not a great picture, but it's not meant to be. It's just kind of like the thing, right? You know. Well, but I'm definitely going to look into that. That would be a thing that I would like to um, investigate more and see. That's just a lot of folks don't realize that I'm not using like a webcam or something like that. These are true. You know, they're actual. You know, like um, was it DSLR type cameras because I want the best image quality as I can get and have the ability to swap lenses out when I can afford better lenses. I will be doing that as well. So Derek's stuff was saying, hey, one of your mics dropped out. No one can hear you. Um, so that was when my lav mic died. So it is currently charging now. I'm charging them all back up. Should have done that yesterday, and it completely escaped me. Um, so let me scroll down. Derek Stuff asked if I was bi-curious. I will let you guys know that I am bi-metal curious. That's about bi as I get. Um, there's like a 3 minute delay between the comment and your lady friend reading it. So I have some kind of bot that reads the text. Um, I thought I had turned it off. So that might have had something to do with that. I'm not sure. I don't listen to that anymore. I found it too distracting. So let's move through these comments real quick. The chat. Um, uh, he had asked if I was drunk. I'm not sure why he would ask that, but I will say I've had a migraine for the past 3 days, and the medicine that I have taken for that definitely I feel a little off. It's I've never had migraines before, and let me tell you, I spent 2 days in bed. It was brutal, man. I don't wish that shit on nobody. God damn. Um, we talked about pear as a shape. I think he was saying I was pear shaped, man. I think I'm more barrel shaped than pear shaped. I think pear shape is a little more elegant than me. I'm just a old fat dude with a big old fat beer belly. Um, honestly, if I could take like 10 pounds of this gut and stick it in my ass, that'd be nice, man, because my pants fall off my ass all the time. It's crazy. I need some more ass. You know, one of those Kardashian butts is what I need. Um, but don't you spend more time doing regular forging versus using your lowers to forge? I'm not 100% certain what he meant by that. Aren't you, and this is when we get into the supposed to, aren't you supposed to have your arm at rest and then hang your fist onto the anvil to set the height? So again, I just talked about the um, the hesitancy I have towards when I hear people say things like "you're supposed to." And I had talked about, I don't know how well that came across during the stream, but I had mentioned I've had a lot of people. I go to a lot of different forging events, Quad State, the IBA conferences, and things like that. You know, a variety of places across the country, Havana, so on and so forth. And I've had a lot of people come up and tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's all fine and dandy. I fully believe that those guys are really just trying to be helpful, and I get that. However, I always kind of go back to, you know, well, show me what you've done, and we'll look at what I'm doing, and we'll compare and see if maybe you supposed to be doing what I'm doing, or change what you're doing. We'll see. I don't know. Get your piece hot. Let's see who gets there first, and let's see whose piece looks better, and go from there. I don't. It's not that I think I'm all of that. That's not the case. It's just don't tell me. Show me. Don't tell me. Show me. Because your words mean nothing without something to show for. Right? If I'm doing the work, you're seeing the results right there. You know. Um, I think proof's in the pudding. Show me. That's where I'm at with that. So Brian Brazil was kind of talking to Derek as well, and what Brian mentioned was that the lower the anvil, the more throw, the more you have throw available to you, right? So if I'm up here and my anvil is lower, that means that travel distance is greater. If it's too high, then I lose throw. Um, so there's that as well. Yes, being bent over all day long can tax you, but I don't feel like I am. And I tried to not bend with my back. I tried to bend at the knees, and so I've never encountered that in terms of forging all day. That's never been a major issue for me. Um, Brian's been at it, what, 50 or years or so, or maybe longer, who knows? And I've never heard him complain about that either. So I think there's something to be said about technique and how you do it. Um, it goes a long way. Forging long days with a lower anvil seems like you'd get tired much easier. Brian says you will hurt yourself if you forge all day with a short throw. This was because you're overcompensating for that lack of distance with power that you would not normally would need to utilize, would be my guess. He also has asked us who Rand Condell is. I have no idea. I have no context for that question. And Brian said he Googled it, and I'd made a joke that I wasn't aware that Brian knew how to use Google. Um, so I'm gonna do it too. Rand Condell, president of the Adirondack Folk School. Um, like I said, the the name kind of rings a bell, but I do not know him. Um, and I don't, I don't at this point. I can't even say I know of him. It's just the name vaguely rang a bell. But outside of that, I do not know who Mr. Condell is. That could be what is going on here. Why is this blacksmither.com? What the shit is that? I don't know. Um, Rand Condell. Um, I don't know. Argyle Blacksmith Organization organizes. Um, so I'm gonna click on that. Excuse me. Well, I thought I clicked on that. Let's see. Argyle Blacksmith or what? Jesus Christ with the fucking ads. Uh, I just want to know who the dude is, man. Now I'm stuck with a bunch of goddamned ads. This is the kind of stuff that pisses me off. It's like, yeah, okay, fuck off. Well, I wanted to know, but now there's something called Blacksmith Her Radio. Is this the podcast I heard about? I don't know. Anyways, Justia Law Rand Condell as president of the Public Employees Federation. Anvil's Ring is co-curated by Rand Condell, a local blacksmith and member of the local arrangements committee for the Urbana 2020 conference, and Todd DeGarmo, DeGarmo, and there's a. I yeah, I don't know. I don't know the gentleman. I'm gonna click on this though to see if I can get more detail on the gentleman, but I do not know who that is, and I do not believe I have met him. And if I have and just somehow just completely forgotten, then my apologies there. But um, local blacksmith, member of the local arrangements committee, blah blah blah. Um, hmm. About the Folk Life Center. I don't know what they do there. There's a history. To be quite honest, this is more this is more investigation on this person than I'd really care to dive into at the moment. So I'm just gonna put an end to it there. So I'll continue down through the questions here. Brian subscribed to the channel, so that's pretty sweet. He wants to trade my V-swage, I think. No. Troy jumped in. He was talking about making it on Friday for the hammer in, which would be, shoot, I gotta bring up the calendar because I don't know what the hell date that would be. May 17th is the day of my hammer in. It's a Saturday. So he's talking about on the 16th. Um, so that if you want to meet Troy from Barrun Forge and hang out here at my shop, um, Friday the 16th, it sounds like that he may be up here. And then I am hoping to make it out to his place in, I believe it's April. I don't have the exact date written down here. I thought it was in April. Let me scooch back. Let's switch to June. I hope it's not in June, because that will be conflicting for me. I got a couple of things in June planned already. Let me back up. I'm pretty sure it's in April, though. Bar Run Forge, do I see you on here? I have not put it on my calendar. I should probably do that. Um, I feel like it was April 20 something through something, but don't quote me on none of that. I will find out the actual dates, um, but yeah, they have typically have a gathering out at Troy's place once a year. So unless something's changed, I believe it's still on. I just don't know the exact dates right now, but I will definitely try to be there with that as well. Aviary Forge, that is my buddy Jot Wilford. He was talking craziness and then got me on the Boudin red curry farts. Just know you don't want to mix Boudin and some Thai red curry together for dinner. It creates the most heinous farts. Just keep your marriage intact and stay away from that combo. That will put a person on their knees in a bad way. Yeah, let's see. We have a family birthday party Saturday afternoon. So I think that would be my Saturday, my hammer in. The V the V swages are great for consolidating material. Lyle uses one to make cable Damascus. I ain't never done that, but that's not true. I've done it like once, but not with a V swage. My problem is left hand, and I tend to turn the cable the wrong way. Um, I don't know enough about cable Damascus to know which way is the right way, or the wrong way. I couldn't say one way or the other. But yeah, there you have it, right? And I was talking about using one to draw material out. We did that out at Goshen one year. It was funny. Let's see. By accident too, Law Ed, what you think of this? Well, let me show you. Let's see. I do not know who is welcome to Red Nekistan is. I'll have to look into that guy. I don't know. You gave yourself a Dutch oven. Yes, sir, I did. This sounds like a hospital, but with more tetanus. I think he was talking about the beeping of the induction forge, the sweet, sweet sounds of the induction forge. So, Brian was asking about an induction forge, what the cost was. Now, if you were to buy one from Cole Ironworks, um, you can go and onto their website. Um, let's see, Coal Iron, Coal Township Forge. Is that right? That ain't right. the shit is this? Coal iron. Man, coal iron works. So if you go to forging machines, they have a section for the induction forges, and a 15 kilowatt is about $3,000. Um, after taxes, it's probably going to come out to about 3 grand. And it's worth every penny, in my opinion. But you can build them cheaper and get a U.S. solid machine and build them cheaper. You're going to have to source a chiller, um, and none of them are really going to stand up to the chiller that Coal Iron Works has thrown at theirs. They got a big industrial TIG cooler on theirs, and that thing is a beast. Um, but yeah, I was telling Brian, there's not a there's not a time when I'm in the shop when I don't use my induction forge for something. It gets used pretty much every time I'm out there. I mean, and I have a real job, and I only get an hour for lunch typically, so I can run out into my shop, and within 45 seconds I can put a piece of 1 inch round in my induction forge and have that thing forge weld hot within 45 seconds, and I can be forging in that time frame. And I do it all the time, when I've only got, a limited amount of time to get out there to do that, that makes that possible. The other thing is being able to isolate a heat at very high temperatures, in a very specific location along the bar within 1.5 inches, in length. Yeah, that's not something you can do in a gas forge. You cannot. Um, Now you can quench things off, but you put a piece like that in a gas forge, it's going to heat up, you know, anywhere from, depending on the size of your gas forge, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of that bar, and you're going to have a lot to quench off. So there's a lot of things you can do. If you've ever worked with a hammer eye drift, you'll know that in time they take a beating. And what you can do is you can heat that drift up in your induction forge right in the area where it has slimmed out, where it's taken, you know, taken some marks or whatever. You can heat it up in that area and then upset that back and fix your drifts. I've done it several times, um, and it's great for that. Um, Man, that's drifts aren't, well, quote unquote, they're not hard to make, but they can be tedious to make. Um, so anytime you can salvage one without having to make another one's great. So, especially if you've got a relatively good drift that you want to keep, you know, having to remake something, because it's just been abused. If you can fix it, then that's the way to go, man. But yeah, 3 grand for a tool in your shop that, in my opinion, is indispensable. Is that's probably one of the best investments I have ever made for my shop. Um, and I would buy that again without any any second thoughts. In fact, I have seriously been considering upgrading to a 25 kilowatt. I just don't know if I can justify the additional 2 grand. To be honest, just having two 15 kilowatt machines in the shop would be fucking nice. But I would like having a beefier machine. Um, Cole has over in their shop. They've got a couple of nice, really nice gas forges, to be quite honest. And I keep wondering when they're going to make them um, for the public, because I wouldn't mind having one. And I'm not a big gas forge user, but they're nice. And I've got the Apollo, and I love it. But the ones that they're using over there right now, man, those things they're sweet. Um, and the guys over at Cole are great dudes, and they all love foraging, and they're like 45 minutes away from me. I love going over there, love hanging out with those guys. In fact, we'll be hanging out with him here, not this weekend, but the next weekend coming up, I think. So I'm looking forward to that. Another really cool thing they've got going on right now is they have taken over the KA75 Power Hammer build and support and sales. They're currently showing that hammer is being sold out. It runs on off of an air compressor, and I know my air compressor can drive it, but for the type of forging I do, that hammer it provides a really solid single blow hit, and it's another one of those tools where it's like I've got a big 250 pound power hammer, I've got a 25-ton press, I've got two tire hammers, but that that KA75 power hammer single blow, the way it works, that would be another great addition to my shop. But I can't really justify that cost right now, but maybe later. But not right now. Um, but one day, it will probably find its way in. We'll see. We'll see. But it's not in the cards right now. Um, yeah, my audio died completely, and I was talking about that, and then it was like, hey, no audio. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna head in, which is what I did. And then Brian had mentioned I had just stopped, so he'll give me a call. I suspect he'll do that tomorrow sometime. I wasn't expecting him to call tonight, but I mean, if he does, that's cool. But um, I'm suspecting that probably tomorrow at some point. Um, he's probably gonna he's probably gonna like, what the hell were you doing with that leaf? Um, so I mean, just when I looked at it, there were some things like that happened. So I was working a piece of wrought iron. So let me go back to the actual video of that. Um, where is that? So I'm done with the questions. I'm gonna close that thing out. No, this thing. What? No, over here. So I'll pull this back over here. Um, so there was, oh, I showed it towards the end. So there were a few things that after I worked, I'm going to work on it more tomorrow. Here's where a raid. It was 1 in the morning. What the what? What the what? A raid? Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. Um, so let me go see what's going on with this. I am not. Where in the hell? That, oh, there it is. Um, your steamy area. Right on, King Steamy. Um, what's up, man? How you been, dude? It's been a while. Um, so I was just kind of going over my own stream from earlier. I had some serious audio issues because some jackass forgot to charge batteries. No way that was me. Doing good, man. Doing good. So towards the end of the night, I was working on this leaf that was made out of a raw iron, and mistakes were made. Um, let's see. I think I showed it towards the end before I called it a night. Let me what the where'd it go? Where'd it go? I don't know. So, anyways, but as I was forging that, the it formed a crack in the stem, and I was able to forge weld that stem back together and reconsolidate that crack, and that went away. That wasn't a problem. The other problem was the fuller I had used on the leaf itself was way too aggressive, and that caused some issues. So tomorrow I'm going to rework on, finish up that leaf, but I'm going to use a less aggressive fuller. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I make way too many mistakes to use a typewriter. I'd be blowing through all the paper. Getting high off of whiteout from all my own mistakes. But we were talking about induction forges. Where's where's that at? So, um, and Brian Brazil was asking me about, the induction forges and the induction forge I used, and I think one of the things that I mean, he's seen them, he's been around them before in the past, but I know he not these particular ones. But I was able to work, like I said, that wrought iron. I was bring it up to a welding heat in my induction forge within seconds, and reconsolidating the stem and rewelding that back into itself, and was able to fix that. Yeah, right. Um, so so Brian was interested, and he's very seriously considering picking one up at some point. And I think if anybody can put one through its paces, it'd be Brian Brazil. Yeah, hooked on phonics did not work for me. I will not be winning spelling contests anytime soon. But that's fun. I know this about me. So my hands are filthy from being out in the shop for 4 hours or whatever it was and forging. But I don't know. Let me tell you, I ran into some spicy material tonight. Got a couple scale burns. Um, but it's kind of funny. I mean, I see them now, but like one of them I knew happened, but it didn't register. But I'm sitting here looking at the burn mark, the burn mark on my hand now. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that was a spicy piece. Um, Fun times. So it is what it is. It happens, right? No big deal. Um, but I'm gonna try. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what happened with the text conference. I think there was some issues there. Mark Ling wasn't really too interested in dealing with. So they called that. Um, so I suspect they'll bring it back, but I think they want to move it somewhere though, other than where they've been going. Mark's newly married, and I think he would rather spend his time with his wife than dealing with a bunch of jackholes. So I can't fault the man for that. But yeah, I'll have to ask Mark and see what his, you know. I know a couple of guys would be willing to come down and help out if he needs the help. We might do that next year. We'll see. Um, but I don't know where that stands for this year. Mark was at the Llama conference. Um, we were down in Robert, Louisiana for a few days during that time. We had our own impromptu conference over at John Perillou's shop, which was good times. Yeah, he's a happily married man now. He's got a dog and everything. Next thing you know, he's gonna have a kid running around. We're gonna start calling him Grandpa. Right on. Yeah, definitely. But we'll see how that goes. Um, I know Mark is not. He does not have any interest in dealing with drama. So if any of that kind of stuff surfaced, I don't know what happened there, by the way. But if any of that kind of surfaced, he will definitely have removed himself from that situation post haste. Um, so I fully understand that. But yeah, I'll definitely I'll chat with Mark sometime this week and see what he wants to do going forward. Right on, appreciate it, and appreciate the folks that jumped in on the stream of me rambling. Really kind of closing out the actual stream from earlier tonight, which was kind of a train wreck because of the audio issues. Because like I said, somebody forgot to plug his microphones back in and charging them up. There's no way that was me. Um, so, um, gonna do again, and weather weather permitting, I'll be back on a regular schedule again. And provided, dude, I got slammed with a migraine this week, and bro, it was brutal. I don't typically get headaches, and I don't know that I've ever had a migraine before. But let me tell you, it put me down for like 2 days. Absolutely, man, absolutely. We're going to a thing next weekend, not this coming weekend, next weekend, called Warriors Way. And up there, we're going to be doing some forging with some veterans, which will be fun. Those guys are always a good time. Last November, was it November? Yeah, we did a little bit of stuff with John Norwood, Action, Old Hickory Forge. We forged a hammer with John. So I actually meant to show that hammer, but I need to finish it first. I'm going to show that hammer off. And for those that don't know, John lost everything during the hurricane back in October of, I think it was October, range. He lost his entire shop, lost his fiance as well to that hurricane. There was a mudslide and took everything he had, including his fiance. And so he came out to Warriors Way, and we forged a hammer with him. So I'm gonna get that hammer to him. He's currently on the Appalachian Trail, and he's doing that. But once he returns, and starts putting down roots again, we're gonna get him that hammer that he forged with us. I think that'd be a good gift. I got a couple of other things I want to get his way. But John's a good dude. And it was good to see him forging again. He showed a young man how to forge a knife and did it pretty quickly. It was always fun to see that, and that guy ate up everything that John was throwing at him. It was good stuff. So that was a great event. I'm not um, I am not at all sorry that we went, and we enjoyed it so much. We'll be heading back again here next weekend, and we will be doing some forging with those veterans. John won't be there, I don't believe, but we'll be forging with some vets, and we're going to introduce some folks to Brazil style hammer making. And it should be a good time. And I'm going to try and stream some of that as well. So I think it's going to be a good time for all. And we're gonna do a few other things outside of hammer forging as well. Um, so should be good times. Um, and then more to come. I'm also working on. There's a moth down here trying to piss me off, but he ain't gonna piss me off because I'm gonna kill his little ass. Moth, get out of here. Trying to have my smoke. But yeah, we're gonna do some stuff. It's gonna be fun. And then I've got a hammer in my shop in May, and I'm gonna try to stream some of that as well. I think that'll be fun for folks that have never really seen something like that. I think that'll be cool. Um, so I'm gonna try to get a stream for that going as well, and we'll take it from there. Hopefully, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but last year Ed Brazil came out to the Hammer Inn. If we can get Ed and Brian back, come back out, that'd be great. Um, I got some ideas for those guys, so it'll be cool. And if you guys are unaware, Brian has been posting videos on YouTube again, so definitely tune in. He's got some cool stuff out there. He may or may not have three chuckleheads forging a tool. For anything, it's at least it's good for a laugh. Um, there, um, but Brian's content's always top notch, and it's really good to see him putting some videos out again with more up to date cameras, so you don't have that potato quality video on all this stuff. And what's really cool is he was doing tongs using aluminum. And what's cool about that is you can actually see everything that's happening really, really, really well. And very informative. So those that are not aware, if you don't know who Brian Brazil is, get out there and go find out, man, because that dude can forge. He's taught me almost everything I know. Between him and Ed Brazil, they definitely taught me 90% of everything I know. So and that if you know who Mark Lang is, that's where his forging heritage comes from as well. Yeah, check it out. Definitely worth your time. Um, so if you know of Mark Lang comes from the same family tree as me. Andrew Larson also comes from that family tree. Jonathan Pinkston is another good blacksmith. He comes from that same family tree. Alex Steele, I'm sure you guys know who that dude is. He comes from the same family tree. He branched off in a bit of a different area than the rest of us, but he's more of he wants to be a content creator kind of guy. So hey, he's living the dream, I suppose. But from his forging stuff, that's all. It's all Brian Brazil. It's that that's where a lot of that comes from. Um, and an insatiable curiosity is also where a lot of that comes from. That's what I love about that dude. I don't necessarily want to watch a guy make a Damascus bicycle, but at the same time, I cheer it on because it's an insatiable curiosity that he has, and an infectious thing to watch this kid go after something like that, and just like I don't want to go out and forge a bicycle by any stretch, but he definitely inspires me to want to go do certain things. And it's like, man, what? Hey, man, why not? That dude did it. I can go do something like that crazy, right? Yeah, why not? Yeah, yeah. Swords are cool too. Can you go wrong with swords? I don't think you go wrong with swords. Um, there's a father and son team that is doing a lot of the Frazetta museum swords right now. I think it's Windburn Steel. So look those dudes up. Windburn Steel. I don't think that they do any kind of streaming or anything like that, but there's stuff out there. And those dudes are doing the Frank Frazetta museum pieces right now. They were commissioned to do some of those swords. And if you're into the Frank Frazetta artwork at all, the Conan stuff, yeah, go look it up, man. It's pretty epic. There's another great guy out there. I believe his name is Kyle Royer. He makes some amazing stuff when it comes to swords. It's just mind blowing to watch this guy come up with some of this stuff. I mean, it's awesome. But yeah, yeah, those dudes are awesome. There's two E's in the word steel, Rob. You big dummy. Yeah, they got some really cool stuff in there. Um, I have actually a couple of these pieces I have actually held in my hand a couple of years ago, and it man, it was just I was ready to go to war with somebody. um, I don't see any of the Frazetta stuff in here. Um, right here maybe the Silver Warrior sword. Yeah. Um, and I know that they're working on a piece right now. I think. Um, they did something with Jason Knight. If you're into any kind of knife making type stuff, man, Jason Knight is definitely a dude to know about. Which I don't know what any of that means, but right on. Um, but I'm gonna put an end to my stream for the night. It's already one something here, and I got a day job, man. So I got to get to my day job. I appreciate everybody that jumped on. I would continue this raid, but I don't know. Can I can I get in there and let me? Uh, I will continue this raid and stuff. I do apologize. I'm not super up on all the twitchiness. Let me let me do this first. You can look at the chaos in my background. Ah, let's see. Log in here. My password's incorrect. Say what? That ain't possible, is it? Hmm. Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I'm trying to remember how I do any of this, but I don't. I got the things. I don't remember. I don't use these anymore. The last time I changed the password, I changed it something so crazy. I have to go look it back up. What you were seeing, it was actually I got a password generator thing. So it's yeah, it was something like that last time. But I don't use that account anymore. So I'm like, oh, what is the damned account anymore? I can't remember. But yeah, it's good times, let me tell you. Um, but anyways, let me see. Oh, wait a minute. Is this the one? And then, yeah, I got all the two-factor authentication crap turned on now. But none of that means much. I don't. I can't remember what my account name is anymore. uh, yeah. Okay, there it is. Oh, that's right. That's it. No, I do not want to add that password. So, yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah, it's kind of funny. When I first looked into a lot of this stuff, I was like, man, I don't even know what's going on with this. So it's cool though. I dig it. I dig it for sure. But I would pay the raid thing forward a little bit more. But I need to really get in here and study up on all the Twitch stuff because I don't really know. I have some friends that use it, and they've talked about giving me a hand in a walkthrough. So I need to take them up on that. They are on there a bit more with the 3D printing stuff that they do. So I'm gonna close all this out. But yeah, again, I'll go back to if you're into swords and knives, though, man. Windburn Steel, those dudes do some really cool stuff. And then Jason Knight is another guy that does some amazing work. Check them out. And if you're just into general forging, um, Brian Brazil on YouTube, Brazeal. Brian Brazil, he's the man. Um, and you will learn a lot. Um, right on. And then I'm gonna cut my camera though for a bit. And then I'll switch back over to this thing a dang. Where in the hell? I'll tell you though. I was having these when I went through a bout of hardcore um, migraines for a couple of days. And the medicine my wife had for that, whew, it has rattled me. Let me tell you. Man, I was doing some work stuff this morning, and I was like, man, I could not think straight to save my life, man. That was crazy. PS knives, huh? PS knives. So, right on. Go to this thing, and then I'll go to this thing. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. I've never. Well, first of all, I don't do migraines. Like that's not something I don't typically get them. Like this is the first migraine I know of, have ever had, and it kicked my ass. Like it for reals kicked my ass. Um, so how do you do this raid thing? Is there like a button for that? shield mode. What is the hell is shield mode? Let's see.